Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Greg Furman, market analyst here at TraderPlanet.com, and these are the market positions for March the 2nd, 2010. Now our first position for tonight, we're going to be looking at the S&P 500 E-mini continuous contracts in the futures market. First and foremost, we want to identify our pivot level of support. We have this crossover from Vantage Point that's taken place on the triple EMA. That was in the middle of February, latter part of February. Now our key level of pivot support now comes in at 1096.78, 1101.78, and 1107.88 with a close of 1114. So having a closer look at this, we can see that we have the predicted MACD from Vantage Point has made a crossover in oversold territory. It's extended higher. We're now above the zero line, which is a good sign. Predicted TSI, the true strength indicator from Vantage Point, has also crossed over to the upside. Now, point of concern here, the predicted RSI in heavily overbought territory. So with that, we're going to go in, have a look at our crossovers here just to make sure that everything still looks good for tomorrow for our buy positions, and then we'll go into the daily report. Now, looking at the short-term indication here, we can see that the crossover has now taken place. The short-term crossover has taken place to the upside. The medium-term crossover is also starting to move off the 10-day simple moving average. So the 4-day exponential moving average from Vantage Point is starting to break away from the 10-day simple moving average. That's a good indication that we're going to head higher here also. Now, the long-term crossover from Vantage Point also showing a crossover to the upside, a more defined crossover, which helps us, to determine that this is going to, the uptrend remains in place and everything still looks good. So with that said, I'm just going to take this off here for a minute so everybody can see this, but I'm going to leave the triple EMA crossover on. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go in and have a look at the predicted high and predicted low from Vantage Point and what it looks like for tomorrow, and essentially what it's looked like for the last little while. Now the predicted high and the predicted low from Vantage Point, we can see here that we've only had a couple of moves below the predicted low of the day. The majority of them are breaking to the upside, so a very tight range here. Now we can also see for tomorrow here we've closed at 1114.50. The predicted high for tomorrow 1110.39, predicted low 1092.36. Now again, we can go into our daily report, get some information from there also to see what's happening. We also want to always make sure that we review the neural index from Vantage Point. It's a very important indicator also. Neural index, good 24-hour indicator. So we can see here, the predicted high for tomorrow, is 1119.68, 1108.31 is the predicted low, with that closed right in the middle of that range at 1114. So for tomorrow we're going to be looking for a pullback towards this 1108.31 area. Now when we go in here, we can use the 1108.31 and gauge it against the predicted 3, 8, and 18-day exponential moving averages from Vantage Point. So again, what we're going to do here is we're just going to go in here to our properties again. We're going to take off our predicted high and low for tomorrow. We've seen where our range is going to be. So by doing that, we've now identified that the predicted low for tomorrow from Vantage Point is 1108. We have 1107.88, which is the predicted 3-day exponential moving average. All our stops, we want our stops below 1096.78 to avoid the intraday volatility. Good demonstration here. We can see the wicks of these candlesticks have come down, touched the 18-day exponential moving average, and bounced clear out of there. We have this one individual candlestick, and this still has a lot to do with the euro, with Greece, with all these things that are happening. But we immediately recovered. Vantage Point very wisely did not put out a sell on that. So again, for tomorrow, we're going to be using that 3-day exponential moving average at the 1108 area. And again, we're going to be looking for that move towards the 1119 area. Now, that's our first position for tomorrow. Our second position for tomorrow, we're going to be looking at gold futures contracts. We can see here we've closed at 1118.30. Three key areas of pivot support come in at 1113.80, 1109, and 1104.80. Now we can see that we've got this crossover from Vantage Point that's taken place to the upside. These two candlesticks here breaking below the 18-day exponential moving average is definitely a concern. We can see that the 3-day exponential moving average tried to cross the 8 and the 18, however, then in turn bounced higher. So what we're going to do is we're going to run through some indicators here and then maybe have a little bit of a look at the correlation here. So the short-term indicator from Vantage Point, we've got this crossover that's taken place to the upside, so everything looks good there. The medium-term crossover from Vantage Point, this one a little bit more mixed. Now we can see that we've taken the crossover to the downside. It's now beginning to recover and it's getting ready to cross over the 4-day predicted exponential moving average is getting ready to cross the 10-day simple moving average. This would be a clear buy signal. A bit of a concern that we don't have that yet. Now the predicted long term has made a very clean break higher, so we've got the short term and the long term suggesting gold is going to move higher. The medium term somewhat mixed. Now whenever we see that, we're going to go in and add more indicators to this to see if we can get a clearer picture. We're going to add the predicted MACD. We're going to do that first so everybody can see this. The predicted MACD is moved above the 0 line. We've had a crossover to the upside, which took place at about -15. Now that we've crossed this 0 line on the predicted MACD, that's somewhat of a bullish signal. So with that, we're also going to now add the predicted TSI from Vantage Point. Predicted TSI is also confirming the same. We've got the crossover here from oversold territory, and we can see that it's moving off of the trigger and extending higher. Now, taking it one step further, we're now going to add in the predicted RSI from Vantage Point. Predicted RSI, again, a concern. We're hitting overbought levels, but what we're going to do now that we've identified the main areas, what we can do now is go into the daily report. Two of the three main indicators are telling us that gold is going to move higher. So now what we can do is go in and have a look at the again, the daily report. We can get our predicted high, our predicted low, all of that very critical information that we need for the daily trades.